Today we are going to discuss a poem In Love written by Kamala Das. Kamala Das, as you all know, is a very popular Indian English woman writer who is also known as Kamala Suraya and Madhavikutti. She was born in the year 1934 at Punnayorkulam, Thrissur district, and we lost her in the year 2009. She was highly influenced by her uncle Nalapat Narayana Menon and her mother Nalapat Balamani Amma. Both of them were very prominent writers during the time. She was married off to Madhav Das at a very early age, and later she led her life in various cities like Mumbai, Calcutta, and Delhi. After the death of her husband, she later converted to Islam in the year 1999, which actually created a number of controversies in her name. She has wrote both in Malayalam and in English, of which she is very popular for her Malayalam short stories and her autobiography Ente Kadam, which was translated to English with the title My Story. Nirmadalam Puttakalam is a novel which is a very famous one. Pakshiyude Manam is a collection of short stories, and she has written a number of poetries in English language. The first poetry collection is Summer in Calcutta, which carries the poem which you have to learn, that is In Love. She has bagged a number of awards. To mention a few, she received Kerala Sahitya Akademi Award for the story Tanuppa in the year 1968. In 1985, she received Kendra Sahitya Akademi Award for her poetry collection called Collected Poems. In 1997, she received Vailar Award for Nirmadalam Puttakalam, and in 2009, Eruthachan Award. About her writing style, basically she can be considered as a confessional style of writer, and many critics call her as a poet of decadence because of her openness in writing. Decadence is actually giving a sense of a negative connotation, as it means a kind of a decline of culture. So it is a kind of a criticism which is against her, and I should also say that it is the same criticism which actually made her very popular. She dared to write openly, which many women writers will not do. She explored various facets of womanhood, female sexuality, and nuances of love. The poem which you have to learn, In Love, is taken from the poetry collection Summer in Calcutta. The theme of the poem is actually disenchantment in love. Disenchantment means a kind of a disappointment in love. She is never satisfied. She was never satisfied in the love, or she was never feeling a kind of a completeness with the love she had with her husband. Whether it was true or not is another question, but most of her writings carry this kind of a element. So I read the poem In Love. Oh, what does the burning mouth of sun burning in today's sky remind me? Oh yes, his mouth and his limbs like pale and carnivorous plants reaching out for me, and the sad lie of my unending lust. The poem begins not in a pleasant mood, but instead the speaker is repeating the word burning to create a kind of a sensation which is not that, it's not a pleasant sensation for the speaker, and she is here saying that what is the burning sun reminds her of. So it reminds her of his mouth, and she is reminded of her beloved, maybe it's a lover or her own husband, and his mouth. She is reminded of burning mouth, which we can consider as a kiss from a beloved, which should give actually a kind of a pleasure, but instead here she is reminded of a kind of burning sensation. Again, the pale of the day, or the pale color of the day, is again reminding her of his limbs, which means legs, which is pale in color. And she is using the imagery carnivorous plants which reach out for her. So, what she is attempting to say is that the love here is not something which is divine, but instead uh, it's like a scorched and a consumed like of a thing. It cannot be called as a divine love, but instead it is a kind of a lust which needs physical satisfaction only. The consummation of love is not giving a pleasant experience, but rather like a carnivorous plant which derives nutrients to live by trapping and consuming insects. So these kind of carnivorous plants usually looks very attractive and with its colors and nectar which attracts insects to it. So it acts like a passive trap which attracts different insects and or the prey, and once the prey is in it, it's like a pitfall from whom the insect can never come out. So she is saying that he is like a carnivorous plant and his love is like that. It's kind of a pitfall from where she can never come out. So it is a sad kind of a lie of my unending lust. There is an unending lust in her, but though there is physical satisfaction, the lack of real love makes it unending. Where is room, excuse, or even need for love? For isn't each embrace a complete thing, a finished jigsaw? When mouth on mouth I lie, ignoring my poor moody mind, while pleasure, with deliberate gaiety, trumpets harshly into the silence of the room. So, in the next few lines, the poet is reminded of physical relationship which she had with her husband or lover, and she feels that even if there is no need for love, there is no excuse. And still, each embrace is like a finished jigsaw puzzle, one piece, and only that particular piece can complete the other if joined correctly. So these lines are highly connotes a sexual relationship between the two, but it creates a confusion when she says that though she is physically satisfied, her mind is moody, and the pleasure which she gains is like a deliberate gaiety. A deliberate means something which we consciously create. So the happiness is something which she creates consciously, and that happiness is making a sound like a trumpet, like a musical instrument, uh, which is again not giving a kind of a comfort. So that trumpet sound is like a disturbance which disturbs her in the silence of the room. At noon, I watch the sleek crows flying like poison on wings, and at night, from behind the Budwan road, the corpse bearers cry, Bol Hare Bol, a strange lacing for moonless nights, while I walk the veranda sleepless. A million questions awake in me, and all about him, and this skin communicated thing that I dare not yet in his presence call our love. So even at noon, she is not happy that even she is sleepless. Even the crow, which is flying, is like a bird which is flying with poison on its wings. And even the night is not giving any kind of calmness for her, but instead it engulfs her with a kind of sleepless nights, which is irritating, and she can only listen to unpleasant things like the sound of the corpse bearers. So it's calling Bol Hare Bol, etc. So even the night is not giving some kind of a pleasantness or calmness in her mind. Even the night is moonless and she is sleepless. So during those sleepless nights, when she was walking through the veranda, There are a number of questions which comes to her mind, and all these questions is related to her lover or the he mentioned in the poem. She is thinking about the skin communicated thing which connotes sexual relation, and feels that even in his presence she cannot call that relation divine love, though there is physical relation which gave her deliberate happiness. So the poem is all about unsatisfied or disenchantment of love. Thank you.